there's no contribution from the retirees. Okay, we have a kind of, that's a unique kind of pension system. Right now, I think it's in the neighborhood of around 120 to 130 billion pesos in the 2023 budget. If the salary of the incumbent is doubled, you get your pension doubled also. Okay, now pension can be received after 20 years of service with no minimum pensionable age. So some of them, they get recruited at the age of 20, so they can already retire at the age of 40. Okay, you have three groups of people: the military uniform personnel, you have the private sector, the SSS, those who retired under SSS, and those who retired under GSIS, government workers. The average monthly pension, this is monthly.
Good morning, Malacanang Press Corps, and welcome to our press briefing this morning, March 28th. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. presided over the sectoral meeting this morning. Tinalakay dito ang proposed merger of Land Bank of the Philippines and the Development Bank of the Philippines. The proposed merger aims to have a more robust and competitive bank that will provide better and more accessible financial services for Filipinos. Aside from this, the updates on the proposed military and uniform personnel pension reform was also discussed. And to give us more details on this, kasama natin ngayon si Finance Secretary Benjamin Diokno. Good morning, Sec Diokno.
Thank you. As mentioned earlier, two topics were taken up today, both what I consider game-changing. No? The first one is the merger of the Development Bank of the Philippines and the Land Bank of the Philippines. By merging the two, it will now become the number one bank in the Philippines, okay, ahead of Banco de Oro in terms of asset. Now, the president expressed the desire to merge the two to make it the biggest bank in the country because of the recent financial developments abroad, no? And that's really the best practice. The biggest bank usually is owned by the state globally. Now, he expressed concern that in the process of merging, that none of the services provided by either bank will be lost. And we assured him that with the merger, because both the Land Bank and DBP are universal banks, they do almost the same, right? Except that one is focused on agri, the other one on industrial projects. But they do practically the same. And that as a result of the merger, there will be savings, and the merged bank will be stronger. And in fact, one likely outcome of this is that maybe the interest rate that they will charge will be lower than either up to two at the moment.
Shopee may sweldo na! May Mayday sale ng Shopee! Shopee! Shop with them!
Between the two of them, of course, as you know, the Land Bank is the bigger bank, right? It has how many branches? Land Bank has 752 branches at the moment, and the Development Bank of the Philippines has 147 branches. Now we mapped them, and as a result of the merger, only 22 branches of DBP will be retained, and that the plan is that Land Bank will have a branch in all LGUs in the Philippines. Okay, it could be a combination of light branches or big branches, ATMs, etc. Okay. Now, ang advantage nito talaga is that we will be able to save a lot of money for the national government. We estimate that the savings will be in the neighborhood of at least for the first year around, let me be more precise, 5 billion. The projected operating cost savings due to the merger could reach at least 5.3 billion per year. So for the next 4 years, at least 20 billion. Okay, and this is even understated because this does not include revenues there that can be derived from the sale of redundant assets of DBP's various properties, such as its head office in Makati, a property in BGC, various branch properties, equipment, and licenses, and income that can be derived from the proceeds of such sale. Okay. So, any question on the first topic? None? No question. Let me go to the second topic, which is again, this is another game-changing reform. I said this is more complicated than the first topic because I told the president, your predecessors have decided to kick the can down the road. They don't want to address this. I usually call this the elephant in the room. Nobody would like to touch it, and they simply ignore it. And this is the military and uniform personnel pension reform. Okay. So we met with DILG Secretary Benhar Abalos and DND Secretary Galvez. And let me describe to you the present pension system. No? The pension system covered by this are those from the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, the Bureau of Fire Protection, the PNP, the Philippine Public Safety College, the Philippine Coast Guard, and the Bureau of Corrections. Now, the current pension system is like this. Now, it's fully funded by the national government. In other words, it's appropriated annually in the budget, but there's no contribution from the retirees. Okay, we have a kind of that's a unique kind of pension system. Right now, I think it's in the neighborhood of around 120 to 130 billion pesos in the 2023 budget. The MUP pension is automatically indexed to the salary of the personnel of the same rank. In other words, if you are retiree, if you are a general getting X amount of money, if the salary of the incumbent is doubled, you get your pension doubled also. Okay. Third, when MUPs or military uniform personnel retire, they're given one rank higher. Okay, granted one rank higher. And so pension can be received after 20 years of service with no minimum pensionable age. So some of them, they get recruited at the age of 20, so they can already retire at the age of 40. Okay, and you know how long their lives are, right? Military people, they live longer than us. Okay, some at the age of 90. Okay, so they retire at 40, they get their pension up to age 90. Isn't that ridiculous? Okay, so we want to reform them, and right now the situation is so bleak. For example, that if you compare the current operating expenditures or maintenance and operating expenditures of the whole AAFP and the capital outlay, so the money they buy for airplanes, etc., etc., it is actually much less than the amount of pension that we are allocating for the retirees. So there will come a time when the current budget will only be about one third or one fourth of the money that we're paying for the pensioners. Okay, so we have to really address that issue. It's not sustainable. I said if this goes on, there will be a fiscal collapse. So, what are the major recommendations? Again, let me compare. You have three groups of people: the military uniform personnel, you have the private sector, the SSS, those who retired under SSS, and those who retired under GSIS, government workers. The average monthly pension, this is monthly, of a military personnel is 40,000 pesos. Compare that to what an SSS retiree gets. It's 4,528. Okay? And what a GSIS personnel get, 13,600. So that the pension that is received by a military pensioner is 9 times higher than the average pension of a pensioner under the social security system, and 3 times higher than the average pension under the government service insurance system. So we have four proposals. Number one is for the reform to apply to all active personnel and new entrants. So once the new system is adopted, all those who are in active service and the new recruits will have to pay their way, right? No longer free. Okay. Number two, removal of automatic indexation of pension to the salary of active personnel of similar ranks. So let me repeat that. Removal of automatic indexation of pension to the salary of active personnel of similar rank. And third, the military uniform personnel will receive their pension starting at 56 years old. Okay, or now it's now adjusted to 57. Okay, 57 years old. And number four, mandatory contributions will be required for active personnel and new entrants, similar to the GSIS pensioners. Okay, so any questions?
Okay. Job Unahan, ABS-CBN.
Hello po sir, good morning po. Sir, dun sa apat na option na binigay nyo, saan po daw mas leaning si Secretary Galvez?
But there's unanimity that we talked with them, with Secretary Galvez, we talked to Secretary Benar, Abalos, and they are generally agreed with all the four. Siguro meron lang sa question dito sa number 3. Kasi right now, I think ang optional retirement is after serving for 20 years. No? Gusto niya sana siguro gawin na to na after 25 years, yung optional retirement. But he will consult with the military personnel on this. No? But in general, the whole cabinet or the whole those who attended the meeting are in agreement with measures 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay.
Mahaba lang po sir. Doon naman sa merger, sino po yung clarification po, sino yung surviving entity, Land Bank or DBP po?
Definitely Land Bank. No? Kasi Land Bank is, I think, at least 4 times bigger than the DPP, and that the existing board of LB Land Bank will survive. Okay.
Tona Yu, Inquirer Radio.
Sir, just a quick follow-up on Job's question. How about the President? Is he inclined to approve your recommendations dun sa military retirement?
Yeah, he's part of the decision making.
Lahat doon,
Yeah.
okay sa kanya yon?
Okay sa kanya yan.
Okay. Eden Santos, Net 25.
Secretary, good morning po. Regarding po dun sa magiging contribution ng mga active military personnel and yung mga new entry
Recruits.
recruits, magkano po yung magiging monthly contribution nila if in case?
Usually, ang contribution will depend on your salary. Okay? Siguro, meron sa ditong number magiging gradual yung hindi naman immediate na katulad ng government workers. So for the first 3 years, magiging ang contribution nila is 5% of the salary. And then contribution ng national government will be 16%. That's the And then for the next 3 years, it will be increased to 7%, so from 5 to 7. And then and NG share naman will decline to 14. Kasi ang ano ito is 21 eh. I think that's the contribution of government workers. And then years thereafter, the MUP share will be increased to 9. And then NG share to 12. Okay, so gradual yun.
Secretary, alam naman po natin na marami na rin mga ganyang recommendations before. Pero ito po bang mga ganitong reforms, kailangan bang dumaan sa Kongreso?
Kailangan dumaan sa Kongreso. So, in-approve ni Presidente ito, and we will push this to Congress. And we are already talking to some people in Congress who will push this.
Okay. Yun po kasi nagiging problema before kaya hindi po natutuloy yung...
Minsan nga hindi na nakakarating sa Kongreso. Nandito na install pa lang sa administration pa lang. But the President is recognizing the need for this, no? Talagang ipupush niya. Okay.
Hindi po kaya maging reason para yung mga military personnel natin, yung mga sundalo ay mag-demoralize or
Hindi naman.
kumalma, mag-aklas.
Hindi naman kasi as you know, recently, lang noong 2018, dinoble yung sweldo nila eh, di ba? So, and kaya nga gradual yung contribution nila from 5 to 7 to 9, di ba? And so I think naiintindihan din nila that they have to again cooperate with the rest of society. Otherwise, magbo-blow up talaga, magbabalon talaga yung deficit natin. Okay.
Okay. Heidi Sampang, FEBC. Heidi.
Morning, sir. Doon lang po sa merger ng Land Bank at PBB, meron po bang mawawalan ng trabaho? At may estimate po ba tayo kung ilan ito at kung meron pong package na i-offer po sa kanila? Thank you, sir.
Definitely, may mawawalan. Okay? Kasi there's redundancy, no? And then marireduce yung number of branches. But there's usually a package naman, voluntary, and then they can choose to retire. Since they are government official, they can retire under GSIS, or we will offer an attractive package for those who will be separated. Okay?
May estimate tayo, sir?
Wala pa tayong estimate at the moment.
Okay. Sir, mga kailan po kaya yung parang full effectivity ng merger?
It's too early to say, but I would think before the end of the year. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Maurice Umali Tima, GMA 7.
Sir, just a follow-up on the merger. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this proposal has been approved in the previous administration.